Hello everyone, my name is Cora. Welcome back to my channel, Pampered Pages, and welcome to the mid-year book freakout tag. This year has been nothing short of transformative, and through it all, my books have been my constant companions. As I reflect on the first half of 2025, I am especially grateful for the stories that have moved, challenged, and just nestled themselves cozily into my little heart. So with that, let's get right into the questions. Number 1, best book you've read so far in 2025. The book that immediately comes to mind for me is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Pinner. Leave it to me to end up loving a book with the word lost in the title. I did listen to this title as an audiobook from my library, and for me, that format provided quite the immersive reading experience. Some spoiler-free tidbits: this story takes place in London and follows 2 women and 1 young girl, Nella and Eliza in 1791 and Caroline in present day. And what do these 3 individuals have in common? Poison, betrayal, and camaraderie. I would love to do a full book trailer and spoiler-free review for this is a title I now want to own in my personal library. And I also want to mention Sarah Pinner recently announced on Instagram that she has a sequel in the works for The Lost Apothecary, and if all goes according to plan, this will be a 2027 release. Number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2025. By default, A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen wins the medal for best sequel, and that's because it is the only sequel I've read so far this year. Regardless, I did genuinely have a great reading experience, so the title is well earned. Without giving away any spoilers, this is the sequel and conclusion to Jensen's Saga of the Unfated Duology, which is a Norse-inspired adult fantasy romance that follows a shield maiden's journey toward self-discovery. I do have a couple of other videos that go a little bit more in depth, as well as a spoiler-free book trailer and review for the first book of Fate Inked in Blood. Overall, A Curse Carved in Bone was one of my top anticipated releases for 2025, and in my opinion, a cohesive conclusion. Number 3, a new release you haven't read yet but want to. It's been a poppin' first half of the year in terms of my most anticipated releases being released, and I've been loving every page. But out of those releases, one that has been released that I haven't read yet but want to is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I've been seeing videos of people crying as they finish this book, so there is a very strong possibility that when I finish this book, I too will also be finished. TBD. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. From my list of anticipated reads that I made last year, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sungu Mandana is at the top of the list for the second half of the year, and it's coming out very, very soon. But I'm also looking forward to Mate by Ali Hazelwood and The Gingerbread Bakery by Lori Gilmore. Number 5, biggest surprise? Coincidentally, my selection for this question is a book by the same author I chose last year, and that book is Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. Initially, I wasn't fully connecting with it, just some light vibes, but by the second half, I was pulled in. There were moments, and I did listen to this as an audiobook, that I had to stop whatever I was doing and sit down on my couch and cry. And if I cry, there's a connection. A very quick blurb. In this story, we follow Daphne, and her love life is dictated by these mysterious slips of paper, each bearing a name and the exact time frame of the relationship. Though not exhaustive, this story explores themes of fate versus free will, self-acceptance, loss, grief, and life after, second chances, secrets and truth, and lovers to friends to question mark. Rebecca Searle is an author I was looking forward to reading more from this year, and I'd definitely say I've been fulfilling that particular bookish goal. Number 6, favorite new author, debut or new to you? Looping back to question 1, I'd have to say Sarah Pinner. It felt pretty serendipitous when I discovered The Lost Apothecary on Libby because my eyeballs had been quite curious to read The Amalfi Curse. Now that I have officially received a taste of her writing, poison excluded, fortunately, I am very eager to read more. Number 7, newest fictional crush? Jack Smith from Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. It has been months since, why did I say it like that? It's been months since I read this book, and IMO, our dear Jack was pretty worthy. I can't talk, look, I'm giddy. Question 8, newest favorite character? I loved Marcellus and Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. His chapters were my favorite, and in my imagination, he is living forever in the most beautiful body of water with an unlimited amount of treats and in the coziest of treasure coves. And an honorable mention to Addie from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Addie's wonder was contagious, and her story weighed very heavily on my mind earlier this year when I passed through the French countryside. Number 9, a book that made you cry? The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I knew going into this book that my emotions were probably going to be on the line, and by the end they had soared off that tightrope and straight into a body of water cushioned by my own tears. The Song of Achilles inspired wonder and an intrinsic motivation for me to learn more. It was both beautifully tragic and thought-provoking. 10. A book that made you happy. Laurie Gilmore's Dream Harbor series has been quite the mood booster for me, and The Strawberry Patch Pancake House was a scrumptious read, tropes included on this menu. I read it right after some heavier titles, both in genre and content, and I also brought it with me on a beach staycation, so the vibes were pretty high. To summarize, spoiler-free of course, this story follows Archer, a renowned chef and single dad who relocates to Dream Harbor from Paris. And while he has his reservations for small-town living, he also recognizes the importance of having this community for his young daughter Olive. And then we have Iris, a Dream Harbor resident who has held quite the variety of jobs, but one she did not see coming is being Olive's nanny and perhaps Archer's sous chef. 11. Most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year? You guys, I have held off talking about this book for as long as I can handle. Question 8 almost sent me into complete gush mode over a particular character, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Not only is this book the most visually stunning book that I have purchased this year, but the words on its pages were just as, if not even more beautiful. I laughed, I cried, I gasped, I swooned, and I am so excited and eager and a little nervous to find out what happens to these characters and explore more of this world in book 2. But in the meantime, I'm keeping Bartholomew nestled warm and safe right in my heart. Question 12. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? There are so many books I would love to read, not only before the end of 2025, but right now and forever, but my mood has been mooding this year, which has led me to quite some lovely titles. So I'm on that track at this current moment. However, I do think it would be fun to perhaps revisit the Hunger Games series. I've yet to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I do have it. And Sunrise on the Reaping came out this year, so that might be a fun reading venture. Who knows though? So, to be determined. That is the end of my mid-year book freakout tag for 2025. I'd love to hear what you are most looking forward to reading in the second half of 2025. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope each of you have a beautiful day, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you soonish. Bye!